Today, I'm at Elmina on Ghana's beautiful south coast. Built by the Portuguese in 1482, the fortress is one of the oldest European buildings on the continent. Originally erected as a trade settlement, Elmina later took shape as one of the most important stops on the route of the Atlantic slave trade. I'm joined today by Mr. Frederick, a local historian and guide for a tour of the old castle, or as Mr. Frederick refers to it, Elmina Slave Dungeon.
As I speak today, Elmina Slave Dungeon is 541 years old. As part of his voyages, Christopher Columbus came to this town around 1490s. He had to return to India. Whilst he was going back, due to the navigational issues that he encountered, he got lost and landed in the Bahamas. That began the exploitation of the native Indians, which coincided with the Europeans' high demand for sugar, which increased sugarcane plantation businesses. The native Indians were dying due to the brutalities they overlooked, so there was the need for them to have a different alternative. So by 1519, officially, they turned all the storage rooms over here into slave dungeons.
Before I can see those dungeons from which my ancestors were sold into chattel slavery, Mr. Frederick offers a stern piece of wisdom.
Marcus Garvey once said, "A people without the knowledge of their own past history is like a tree without root."
My people's history, or at least the history of their enslavement, starts in the courtyard, where African women were first brutalized by their European oppressors.
You can see the balcony up there for the governor to stand. While he gave orders to the soldiers to have all the gates opened, all the women came out here. He looked through and picked a woman of his own choice. But the one chosen by the governor had been in any of these dungeons for several days, weeks, or months without bathing, brushing her teeth, or washing down. So automatically she wouldn't be smelling. As a result, you can see two separate water reservoirs, which were constructed by the Portuguese. This one contains 20,000 gallons of rainwater. Any woman chosen by the governor or any other European official, water was fetched with bucket for her to bathe.
Because God forbid the European governor should bed a filthy slave. In fact, rape was so prevalent that there was a school on the grounds of the fortress populated by the mixed-race children of the European officials and captured African women.
Now this is the bedroom for the governor. You can see how spacious and airy it is.
This is his bedroom.
The bedroom and two living rooms for one person in charge of the whole structure. As compared to the dungeons, where hundreds were crowded and they never cared about it.
So he's on the very top floor. He has an ocean view. He has several windows. He's enjoying himself, raping, impregnating, passing on his venereal diseases to the African women. And just 2 levels below here, African people are literally being suffocated to death in a cell. The women, spared the indignity of being raped by their European captors, returned to their squalid dungeon holes, awaiting their ultimate fate. That's our next stop on the tour.
This is the largest female slave dungeon. About 150 women were brought into this dungeon. And these are original floors that they were sleeping, lying, defecating, urinating, vomiting, and menstruating.
It still smells. The evidence of the atrocities perpetrated on my ancestors are everywhere. If you look closely at the walls, you can even see where they clawed in desperation for an escape.
As our ancestors were fighting to get out, there was no one to lean upon. There was no one to talk to. There was no one to rescue them. As a result, their nose can be seen on the walls today.
Over the course of nearly 400 years, over 1 million African men, women, and children passed through Elmina on their way to enslavement in the Americas.
This is the door of no return. Now we can see how narrow, how tiny, how smaller the size of the door is. But narrowing the door into this side did not suggest that our ancestors were not strong or fast. Some of them had these features, but based on the conditions that they were subjected to. As they walked on foot for several days, weeks, and months, with little food being given on their way for sustenance, no matter how strong or fat they were, gradually they were losing weight. And by the time the ship arrived to transport them away, they had lost several weight. And that made it possible for them to go through this door. Today, as we are going through these dungeons, if these walls have mouth to speak, they saw the tears, they saw the pains and suffering of one ancestor, but their voices were never heard. And this reminds me of an old proverb that says that until the lion have their own historians, the hunter will always be a hero. And the time has come for the voices of the lions to be heard.
And so we carry the important burden of raising the voices of the many who passed through Elmina. That's why I'm here, to discover the beauty and richness of African life.